Just over a year ago, I got asked for the first time about how I match the reels to the rods that I use. This video is a quick summary of how I make that selection. There are so many different reels out there on the market. The first time I did a video about this, it's probably about 18 months ago. At that time I just switched over to using matrix reels. There are so many reels out there on the market today that it's a little bit of a minefield for a lot of people, and I completely understand how they can get a little bit confused when it comes to making decisions about reels. For 18 months now I've used nothing but matrix reels. I haven't had any of them go wrong, and there's a reel in the range for every single job that I want it to do. The main size reels that I use are a 4000 reel, a 5000, a 5500 and a 6000. Those reels pretty much do every single job that I want any sort of job to be done in feeder fishing. So what's the difference between the reels? Basically, as you go up the scale in the number, that generally means it's the size of the reel that gets larger and the actual ratio. So at the bottom end of the scale, for a lot of my fishing, I use a 4000 reel. It's the Aquas 4000. That's that little baby, and that I tend to couple with a 3.3 metre rod, or as we know more in the UK, an 11-foot rod. The next size up from that is a 5000 reel. The Aquas 5000, that is the next step up from the 4000, and I usually couple that with a rod that's 3.6 metres long or 12 foot. When I use rods that are longer than 12 foot, i.e. the 13-foot versions, or obviously we make rods that are right the way up to 4.5 metres in length. When you start getting into that bracket, I then step up the reel size. Generally, if I'm fishing in Ireland where I'm not casting a mega distance, probably 50-60 metres, I'm quite happy to use the feeder 5500. I'll use that on a 12-foot rod sometimes if I expect it to be hard going, where you're cranking heavy feeders in, catching lots of fish. I love that reel. I mean, a 12-foot rod is great with a 5000, but the 5500 has just got a bit more cranking power for when you're catching lots of fish, especially bream or hybrids like you are in Ireland. So I will use that on a rod that is from 12 foot and longer. Usually that is so well balanced with a 13-foot rod, and that's the one that I like to use on rivers. And then when you get past that, I'm then talking about the 4-metre rods, which is 13 foot and above. Generally, more often than not for myself, whenever I'm using rods of that length, it's because I'm casting a long way. When you're casting a long way, it can be difficult enough as it is, so I like to make the job as easy as possible, and that's when I step up to the 6000. That's the Horizon, and that's the one, this particular one's loaded with mono, and basically I use that when I've got to cast at extreme range. But sometimes, I'll be totally honest, there are times when even if I'm fishing 60 or 70 metres, I will use this rod, because a lot of the venues I fish are large open water. The conditions and the wind can increase, and a reel like that means that if that was to happen during the session, this reel is going to allow you to continue to hit that same spot. It really is that simple. They are all the reels that I use for all my sorts of fishing. Quick summary for you, which reels go with which rods, I'll put down there for you, and hopefully that's going to help some of you out that have been asking questions about matching your rods to your reels. It really is that simple. I mean, I fish a wide range of venues, and these reels cover all those jobs for me. Hopefully that's going to help some of you out that have been asking that question about matching your reels to your rods, and hopefully it's going to make your fishing a lot more simple and a lot more enjoyable.